to direct them to how to do their job. To support Terrell 100%. Not one person on the campus should tell them, oh, we got non-tribal member working, or it should be
See, that's,
tribal
he's talking about Terrell
members
doing the
taking
job.
non-tribal
The people they've been
members.
putting in there,
Also,
they're
should
more critical
raise
people.
Terrell
We
fees
should have an
to
engineer in that
non-members
position. Terrell should be
up to
an
$2,500.
engineer operating position.
Also, supervisor,
With an engineer staff.
if they want to hire tribal members,
Something.
it's free.
We're never
More you
negotiating
hire, less
legally
Terrell fees you
when we
got.
come out of anything we're dealing with.
I mean, you
Big
leave
thing
Terrell
because when
to
we come
do
out of the
their
contract at the
business.
fishery,
Support
we're gonna have a
Terrell.
big lawsuit down, and we're gonna lose a great big amount of money.
And respect the people, they're your boss. If another council member to oust out the tribal member, that person should be gone. Because we're your boss. We come have a legitimate concern and it should be addressed. I mean, I heard some nasty things what one council person did to concerned members. I think that council person should be ousted. That's what I feel. I mean, you respect us and we respect you, but we're your boss. We own this, not the council. We own the land, not the council. If we have a concern, listen to us, work with us. Tell us no, but don't call the tribal cause and you're not allowed to. We own that. If you do that, you be arrested. I don't care because you're trespassing on my piece of property. Respect us people. We have concern, listen to us. I think that one person should be ousted right now. You know, there's no call for calling tribal cause and us. We got elders. Respect the elders. And that person didn't. Ban the cows, no trouble. But the dirty salmon, they pollute the ponds and our creeks. That's why you don't see that much deer. And respect the terror and let them do their job. You can support them. I mean, don't tell them, hey, we got non-tribal member working. No. Let them do their jobs. You support it. Thank you. Amen.
Pat Leonard Brooks. Your turn.
Hey.
I'm Pat Larry Brooks, and I've been asked to speak for a group of people who got together a number of petitions
Speaking of Mike, speaking of
in
Mike.
support of the 100% payout, and they gathered up, they did all the work. I'm just the living person that they chose to speak for them. But I take whatever I do seriously, and I do it with respect. And I was scheduled to speak at the government committee meeting on September 27th to present these petitions. I have over 1,500 petitions, signed petitions, and that represents 1,500 enrolled tribal members, voting members, and their families. So I'm scheduled to speak on September 27th, which is a Thursday. Wednesday morning, I get a telephone call that I have been canceled off the agenda and that the chair would contact me by phone that day to discuss why I was being canceled. Didn't receive a call, so that afternoon, and I understand, that the landlines were down here at that time. But I left her a phone message on her cell phone that I was very interested in knowing, as with the people that I'm representing, knowing why I was canceled. And didn't get a response, so Thursday morning, I go into council chambers and approach the chair shortly before the committee meeting is to begin, shortly before 9. And I asked her, why did you cancel me? And in fact, cancel all of these people. I don't need to speak. I was hoping to, and talk about what this money has meant to so many families in keeping their homes, getting a better vehicle, fixing their vehicle. One of the council members had stated in a discussion that our children are our greatest resources. Our families are our greatest resources. We take care of that. When you are in a survival mode, you are surviving. And as far as the reforestation and the other kinds of efforts that they speak of and that, that we all really hold close to our hearts, we have funding resources, revenues that come in. We need to be using hard money, and we have 2-year plans, 5-year plans, plans of action, strategic planning. We don't plan, we should not plan with soft money. This money was soft money. We didn't know when it was coming in. It came in at a time that has helped so many people. And the people that I'm representing, they still have needs. They're still hurting. They're still suffering. Irregardless of whether you or anyone else in this tribe, in this country, agree or disagree with that petition, we have the forum, we have the constitutional right to be heard by our council people as one individual or a person. And we should not be denied that right. I was denied that right when I said, with all due respect, you are, in effect, committing political suicide, as is everyone else sitting at this table. If 1, you refuse to accept these petitions, or 2, tell me by what authority you have to refuse and why you canceled me off the agenda, would not allow me, my voice, and the voice of the people that I represent. I'm representing over 1,500 people. They got votes for 100, 200, 300 to get into their position, right? So, okay, I'm not going to answer any questions. Call security. So now you know what happened that day. And I said, this isn't over, and it is not over. And I very respectfully today want to present those petitions to the chair to have them reported in as I tried several weeks ago. Now here's the thing. Everyone has the right to their own opinions. I respect that, as we also respect that. This is the voice of over 1,500 people. What I expect to happen now is that they get reported in, that those voices are heard, that their constitutional rights are guaranteed and honored. And then at the very least, we go through another process, put it to vote. Okay, what does everyone say? What does everyone want to do? Okay? But give us that right. Don't call the police on us because you don't like what we're saying. Don't cancel us off the agenda because you don't want to listen to our voices, especially in my position where it's not just me, it's a lot of people. And
It became an issue of constitutional rights on that day. It wasn't just this petition, and we can't let that happen. You know, and I hope that the rest of the council that are sitting here feel the same way. That we cannot let it become an issue of being denied your constitutional rights. That's all I have to say.
I humbly accept those. I mean, these are a lot of voices that need to be heard, and thank you for bringing them here today. And I apologize, I wasn't there at the meeting. You know, as tribal citizens, we have the right to have our voice heard. So, you know, I have them. I'll make sure they're recorded in. Do we have anybody that wanted to respond?
Where is the chair of the committee? And that's who she left. She's the one that called the cops.
Pat? Is that right? Pat? Yeah. I was at the opposite day, but I wasn't there when this happened, and we left, and then evidently I saw an officer come in, and I asked the question what happened, and then I found out that you were requested to leave, I guess. So I don't know how many people were there that day that was inside the room when this came about, but I do want to state for the record that it was like about a little over a year ago where a group of us came to campus to deliver petitions as well. And we were on the outside of the building and actually had police at the door, so we didn't get to go inside the door. You're right. You have a civil right, and you should have been listened to. And we as chair people, actually our responsibility is to facilitate information through our committees. And so I apologize if it happened. I'll say that up front because if there's anything about individual civil rights, you know, that this is a big issue to me. So I apologize if you're treated that way.
Question over here. What happens to the chair?
Where are the other council members from that meeting when the rights were changed? I want to know.
John, where's the government chair that called the cops that was in
She was here
violation?
this morning.
She left. She's the one that should have ousted out. She should be impeached.
What I want to know is why you didn't protect him.
The chairman it happened so fast, the chairman was rushing around at that time. The chairman has control, and you know that.
Pardon me?
Chairman has control of that meeting, and you know that.
But you're all members of the council, don't you know that people have civil rights?
Well, like I said, Lou, the chairman has control of the meeting.
The chair is controlled by the members of the committee.
Yeah, and you know as well as I do, you raise your hand if you want to be heard. And nobody raised their hand. I mean,
So that's the
they
answer.
were out each other out.
Okay, I got my answer right there.
Okay, that's fine.
Shouldn't be okay with
Sylvia.
Where are you?
I'm Sylvia Thompson Beasley. I was asked by a couple of elders to come and voice a concern to my chair, Sean, and to the rest of my esteemed business council. Because I know that you guys are the forefront of all these concerns you're being nailed with. As we sit here, I'm sure you're being by emails, texts, and voicemails about it. My question and my concern is these holds. This is a settlement. Basic 101, this is a settlement. It wasn't earned or anything. It was a litigation, it was a settlement, it was an agreement. This wasn't revenues generated to give out of your purse and say, here's a per capita, this is the money we made. This is a settlement, bottom line. Settlements aren't taxable. And it's really distraught and angry and frustrated because I have friends, relatives, people I don't even know contacted me. And they're on Facebook. Yeah, I'm on Facebook, and you all know that. You don't like it about me? Well, sorry about your luck, buddy. It's a social network, and I'm a part of it. I have friends who were paying, not in default on their credit loans or anything, had made arrangements to pay, never missed a payment or anything, so they thought they were in good standings. All of a sudden, they go to check their mail, there's no check. They call enrollment, no, you gotta call credit. They call credit, credit says, well, that's the way it is. There's people that got their claims, maybe direct deposit, look at it, and it's minus some dollars. They try to find out, they call enrollment, enrollment says call credit. Credit said, well, that's not our hold. It's also vague, it's so vague. We're an organization, we're the top organization, we're the Confederate Tribes of Caldwell Reservation, so why can't we do a basic need? And if you're gonna withhold some of these damn dollars, then send them an invoice, bring them to court, let them know prior, this is an amount that I have, and you owe this, do you agree with it? And if you agree with it, sign here, or I'll see you in court. Don't just go and create some list that none of you out here are aware of until you go to that day to get your check and it's not there, or it's half there, or it's a third there, or maybe even $37 off. Who the heck knows? But show me that I owe money. I didn't owe any money, but I have friends. I have an elder. He was planning on things he was going to do, and family comes, they're going to go pick him up, go to Wenatchee. They go check mail for him, no check. So they call and ask where his check got sent. They call enrollment because they knew somebody there, and they were told that he lost his check. And they don't know why he lost his check, because in credit's hold, it's somebody else's hold, some big department. That's crushing to people to find out that I have that money. These are hard times for a lot of people. And there's a lot of people out here that aren't here today because they're celebrating they got their money. They're bringing their children splurging, they're paying those bills, they're fixing that car, they're buying tires, whatever the heck. They're even just gambling, whatever they want to do, because it's settled in dollars, it's their dollars. They don't have to pay for it, that's their money. And I'm really, really pissed off that this has happened. These holds, I always will have a problem with it. I argued with it when this word first came out. I've worked for the Natural Resource Department since 1996 or before. And then we have a council that isn't quite up to speed on a lot of the natural resource issues and everything. So this kind of slips, somewhere. I don't know where, but I want to know. I want to see a list. You don't got to give me no names. I want to see a number of 137 people, 2013 people, whatever, a list of numbers and how much money was taken from those people for homes. You want to answer questions? Put that in the tribal website, put that in the tribal Tribune, and let the members see that black and white number and that violation that occurred in my friends, my elders. I was raised by my grandparents, You look out for your elders when you're there. You don't question why or anything. When they have a need, you help them. And this council has the authority to reverse that. You should have worked out some kind of a payment plan with that elder. You should have went and told these people you owe this money. You have that right, ability, the knowledge. You're the top dogs. You have all the competent staff at your fingertips to do that with. You should have worked something out with them. And also, that's what I would like to see. That's my question to the council is, I want a list. I want to see a number generated in the Tribune, a broadcast email. Heck, we got a broadcast email yesterday. Probably in breach of confidentiality, you see a CTEC letter asking Native Northwest Development Fund to bail them out again. So if that can get out there, that number can get out there. And also a little bit of history too, when you were talking about Mill Bay Casino, it's a fiasco. This man, this elder that is married on this land, the majority owner, he's passed on his
member children have now taken over control, the majority control of that land. The tribe has almost the ability to become the primary owner, you know, by buying up these fractionaries and people are offering their shares and everything. So land purchase is important sometimes when you see it as a goal to the tribe. But right now the problem is our lease is coming up and we own 100% land. Just up the hill a ways, just up the hill. Fold up that tent, pick it up, go put it on our land, quit paying everybody else. That's my thought. Thank you.
Anybody want to respond to that? Actually, I believe the list of holes did go out, and there's a list here. And I think it is on the website too, isn't it? But if it's not on the website, we'll make sure it is on the website, so you see a clear list of exactly how many holes were put on there. And, you know, I have been getting a lot of calls, because there are some conflicts.
You have two questions here. You have one is constitutional, and then the other thing is legal. As an individual. So advertising those people, names, I don't think there should be a name, they should be just figures.
Yeah, no names.
Okay.
Good afternoon, my fellow tribal members and employees. My name is Charlene Durka. Can you hear me? Is it too? First of all, I'm speaking as a tribal member. I have every right to be here. It is our general membership meeting, which we are being shortchanged from anyway. We need to have a meeting during the time that's feasible for our people to gather, maybe earlier in the summer, maybe following a great powwow when we're all together. I'm glad to see a lot of people that travel, but it also saddens my heart that there's only a handful of us left. And what time is it? It's almost 3:30 in the afternoon. I think the agenda is backwards, if you ask me. I think that we should be allowed to develop our agenda. We only get this meeting once a year. And it's a time that we are able to bring our concerns forward, meeting one-on-one, basically with our council seated here. I think they're probably just as detached from us as we are from them, if you read some of the expressions on their faces. For one, this is a tribal membership meeting. And you know, I really appreciate that we have non-tribal employees helping our tribe stay afloat. I really appreciated all the information that was provided this morning. But there are non-tribal people in this room who I feel might jeopardize the safety and well-being of tribal employees who speak out here. And if you stop and you think about it, no other tribe general membership meetings allow non-tribal people in their meetings. And you have to show your ID to even get in the door. And so with that, I'm just going to put that out there as a safety precaution for tribal employees who have to work on Monday and don't need an email trickling down for the statements or your opinions that you share today, because like everybody said so far, we are entitled to our opinions. We're affected by the day-to-day decisions they make at this table, and we're usually the last ones to know. First of all, I would like to thank the council that stayed, and they're even here. There. I want to to Fort Peck, Montana about 2 weeks ago. I had to go help a family member. He was chopped on my nephew from my father's side. We buried him in Oswego Cemetery, our family cemetery over there. And even the people were kind of talking about some of the issues that were going on in their tribe with their settlement part of money. Fort Peck was getting $1,500. Their per capita were just bumped up from $50 a year to $75. Thank you. And, you know, they're so grateful for that. And so part of their settlement disbursement was $1,500 to be received that Tuesday. Oh boy, were they going to use their, carpool and get to. I think their closest town is Vermilion. They don't have a Walmart within, I think, Havre, which is a 3-hour drive. So they were going to go shopping at their Walmart. Whereas we in Spokane and Wenatchee, we're starting to build up our little facility in Omak over here so that we're having a variety of choices. And I would like some of our endeavors to maybe go into retail sales on our side of the river. We could make our own tribal warehouse store. The natives did that in Wolf Point because they don't have Walmart. Their towns are too small for Walmart to want to develop their big industries. So they have a little store there that has everything. And boy, the first they go there, that's where they're going. It's just right down the end of the street. That's how pitiful they are. But they're good people. They don't backstab each other. Their council listens to them. They have nothing there. They have nothing for natural resources. They try to take care of their tribe. They all have homes. They have vehicles. And they have food, because that's what their council does for them. You'd be surprised. A lot of those families have nothing except the house and the car and the food that their council makes sure that they have. And so when they said they were getting $1,500, they were so grateful, and they're going to get another $1,000 at Christmas time, so that they'll be able to have a wonderful Christmas or pay their heating bills and, cover themselves for the winter. And so, I think, well, I'm really grateful for what we have. But again, I'm grateful for what we received. And if it wasn't for a woman named Joanne Sanchez, we wouldn't even be talking about it. She was like the rest of us. She said, no, they're not going to take all this money. I'm a struggling single parent. I have college-age children. I need to take care of them. So what she did set precedent for our people. And it's been said that, nowhere in our history did anybody utilize the petition procedure and policy and whatnot to make a difference in their tribe and make it successful. But also, over in Montana, they don't have many cell phones, and you have to kind of walk with the wind, the way the wind blows, to catch your bars. And so you're standing outside of some sagebrush, and there's this bar, yell, put it on speaker so you can see what's going on. But I heard about what happened over here. Way over there, I heard that our people were chased out of our own tribal committee meeting. Members who had went there to see and exercise their rights as tribal members. They went there to present a petition signed by so many others, including me, and they were turned away. And that person who did that isn't even here. I call that coward, an act of cowardice. The only way that can be excused to leave this is maybe if your child's sick or a death in the family, but this is a 1-year meeting. They need to be here to answer to you and to me why this occurred and why nobody intervened. Oh, confusion, we weren't there, well, gee, everybody, well, is that the way it's day-to-day business in there? No one knows. what the right hand's doing? That's really sad, because something of that caliber, you know, and nobody can explain it, and nobody, you know, no, I wasn't there, no, I wasn't there. So I'm going to ask the sheriff to put in the Tribune the committee meeting of that day and the council who were present in that committee meeting. They need to be held accountable to their, you know, their, am I getting that right, Angie, constituents? I'm on Facebook and sometimes I get going, and my mouth gets going faster than my fingers, and she corrects me because she's the court clerk for, you know, how many years. My girl probably won't even remember that. But anyway, I could go on and on. What I wanted to say is that the council, you're elected to be responsible to the people. Put your personal differences aside, whether you like me or not, and focus on the issue. And that's what I'll do for you. You lie to me, and I'll tell the world that you lie to me. Because you shouldn't have to lie when you're sworn under oath to represent your people, represented by a constitution. You're to uphold that. Don't tell me one thing and do another. If you're not going to do it, then just don't say you're going to. Really. Thank you. Actually, people, I want to tell you how proud I am that you guys are here, because I know I really like to be out spending schlau too. But we, you know, some of us didn't fall for that bait. Some of us have to be those true warriors with our feet grounded. Come hell or high water, you're going to find us there. You can't bait us, you can't bribe us, you can't make us lie. You can't promise us a house on, you know, a mansion on a hill, a cushy job. We're going to be here for the people. And I'll age out. My daughter will take my place. The other one went to Spokane. She's pregnant now, so I hope that she nurtures her child to do the same thing, because we're doing what Matilda Berkov always did. And Joe, where are you? If you left, boy, I found you later. He can attest that our mother, Matilda Berkov, never missed a general membership meeting in how many years, Joe?
How many years I was there?
Was it that long? God, we put up with Joe Pacotis for that long. You know, but really, people. And one thing that I do have to leave you with: where are the women? All these presentations, all these wonderful things that were said today, given up by all these people in high places. How many women are sitting there? 3. Come on, people. There's more of us out there. There's a lot of qualified native, homegrown, that could be doing these jobs. And there's a lot of strong native and rural, college, tribal females that could lead you to victory. Amen.
Where's song to dance at?
What's that?
Ask the question you have to put it down.
Yeah. You have to get on the list there. Speaking of the microphone.
Mickey Berka, Dash Hudson. I just recently moved back from Tucson, Arizona. Here because the economy sucked down there after my husband lost his job. Sorry. And, you know, that first 20% that we got is what got me up there. So I am appreciative for that. But I also had an issue because I know that Sylvia was talking about posts that were on Facebook. And I said I would stand up and talk about it too. But I just wondered, how did the settlement money become a per capita? I mean, I'm not well versed in this area, but how do you justify turning settlement money into a per capita when the petition that was signed clearly stated that we are requesting 30% in addition to the 20 that was already set aside? The 20% had any holds, didn't have any holds, wasn't subject to anything. The holds were for judgments, voluntary consent, in court orders. So somebody said posted on Facebook. But what is being done to hold these program managers accountable for not doing their job and collecting the debts? Because the only ones that are left hurting or the elders in low income that couldn't afford to pay them off. I just didn't understand any of that, and you know, because these program managers allow these people to go so far in debt without a stop to it. And where is the relief? What do we have to offer them? What do you know? Say, hey, I want to work with you. I want to help you fix this, and I want to, you know, I don't want to take all your money because I know times are hard right now. That's looking out for your people. And it kind of, I don't know, it makes me mad because this is predatory leadership. And I just want to ask my council, please start communicating with us. A lot of you young voters and the voting for you to get on council. You have on Facebook vouching for you, talking about how great you are and how good you're going to be as a leader, and you're up here failing them, and none of them care. How many people here are my age? It's disappointing. 32 years old. I see nothing but elders out here. And that upsets me really bad. That upsets me a lot. Because how many youth are here? And obviously you're not listening to the elders. So I guess it's my job to take on my generation and you can make you listen to us. Just so you know that's just my warning to you. I have a lot of friends. I'm friends with low people and that have nothing. And I can tell them how we can get stuff. And I will fight. This will be a grassroots effort. I'm going to follow the footsteps of all these elders that stood up and talked today. And I'm going to take my part in this community. And I just ask that, could we please do more in terms of economic development in our OMAC district and cool it down? Everything is on the other side of the river, and I don't understand that. We have so many old businesses sitting in OMAC. The old skating rink, I think, is still sitting there boarded up. All the businesses, even our tribal-owned businesses, go across the river. That doesn't make sense. And as for Yvette's speaking about the drug and alcohol thing, I witnessed a council member smoking marijuana. I reported it. I posted a picture of that night because I was at the bar and he was there drinking with everybody else having a good old time. I saw him outside. I don't have a flash on my camera. I can take a picture of him in the dark doing it. Everybody wants to discredit me. Now he's not here. He sits here and gets fidgety. After a couple hours, he can't sit still. Now he's gone. And I just wish that we could do a drug test today, here and now. Because I've seen it, and I'm not going to let people sit here and call me a liar. I've seen it with my own two eyes. And I just want you guys to know that. Anytime that I see anybody go on drugs, who's a leader in a leadership position, I'm against it. Even alcohol. Because you got to have a clear mind to run this business. And this is where we are. We're a business, we're a community, and we need to look at each other and hold each other accountable. And that's what I'm going to do too. That's what I'm saying.
Good afternoon, everyone. Janet Wilson. And I just wanted to say that I'm real proud of the new council. You know, they were sworn in 3 months ago, and I believe it was a real positive change. I believe we're going in the right direction. You know, we're a secular people. We go in circles, and I believe that we were probably at the bottom, and I believe we're on our way back to the top. I really do. So I do applaud the new council. I believe we're going in the right direction. It does take time. You know, where we're at the bottom, it didn't happen overnight. It won't happen overnight for us to get back to the top. But I believe we're taking steps to go in that direction. We're on the right path. I have a couple of comments to make, requests. You know, I'm a local Nespelin district. I live in Couligan. And my big request has to do with the dump. Right now, we go all the way over to Distel to dump our garbage. I would like to see our Musqueam dump brought back to be a full dump. That's my big request, okay? The other one is on the plan, the restoration plan. You know, they have been making strides in getting that in order for us. And I look at it in this manner, you know, the payments that we've got, the 50%, it did help. I have plenty of family that really needed that money, really needed it. But I also know that my future, my great-grandchildren are going to need this land, our home country, brought back. So I'm in total support of that we bring it back to what it was when I was a little girl. You know, my elders made sure that it was taken care of in the right way. And I hope that us elders now stand our ground and make sure that it's brought back for our great-grandchildren. And one other comment, my sister wouldn't come up and speak, I know she wouldn't, but she wanted to comment. She had a concern about the holds. You know, she's probably the lowest paid person in the tribe, but she makes sure that she pays all her bills, and she's an elder. But she said that she was really concerned, you know, that people had holds and that they didn't know that they got the holds put on them. But on the other hand, she said, I'm an elder, and that's all of our tribal money. So if we get something, if the tribe gives us something, we have to give back. We can't just always be taking from our tribe. That's how we build a strong tribe. We have to give it back. Because when you don't give it back, that's harming all of us. So that was what she wanted to say, but she didn't want to come up. So that's all I had to say. Thank you very much for all being here. And I want to say I was late because I went to my grandson's football game. He did wonderful. Thank you.
This is to Mickey, as well as to Janet. You both mentioned our young people, and I just wanted to commend Mickey for getting up and speaking, and any young person who gets up and speaks. And my daughter sitting back there also, and I'm really active. But she's not going to speak, she said. The point is that the young people that I know that are your age, and I know a lot of them, and I communicate to them on a regular basis. And they're out there being parents today. Rather, we would have had this meeting on this day or not, because they're out there coaching their kids in sports, or they're taking them to some, I know, we all have that going on, but I'm saying that that's where they're at today. So, and I think that we should continue to commend all those young people who are active with their families. And I'm just, like I said, I'm really happy that you're here today. You know, my grandson is home last night from ASU. He's been gone for a couple months, and boy, are we excited. He's a freshman. And I'd like to be with him today, too. And I know his mom would like to be with him, too. But, you know, we make priorities. But I'm just really proud of the parents that are out there, the grandparents that are out there with those kids. I just want to make that comment. Thank you.
Vaya lindo Colochín, lindo Tambola, lindo Pasumi. In Charlie's streets, Joaquin. My name is Darnell Sam. I reside here in Spelem. This is my very first membership meeting. I actually met with Lynn yesterday and told her I'd never get to one. My intention was that I was going to be hunting today, and if you're a hunter, you know that these meetings are held on the opening day of General Rifle for our elk. So today I take it easy on our brothers and sisters at elk to be here, and also because my wife wasn't quite feeling all that well. Nonetheless, that brings me to the point of why I wanted up here to speak today. You know, if you think about the sole purpose of what this money was given to our tribes for, was for natural resources. And I'm not here to be politically correct or argue with the rest of our tribal members because I'm not turning $1 away that I got. But I keep it in mind when I got up and I knew that my check was in the bank. Like, what could I do to give back to Mother Earth for the mismanagement of the government? What can we do to help our brothers and sisters, the animals, which I heard our wildlife director speak that they don't have a voice. A few months ago, there was a wolf management plan that was being brought around to all our district meetings. And I thought to myself that it was asinine that we were even worrying about the wolf. If he was here before and he come back, that's good. If he becomes a problem, then we need to start worrying about a management plan. We have far greater problems within our natural resources than the wolf right now. And that's why I stand up here today. And it's not to stand and talk bad about our range program, because I worked for range for 9 years. But more or less to speak up, to ask on their behalf for some help that they so desperately need, and that being in the personnel and the capability of doing what they need to do to better manage our range lands. Because, you know, I also want to make it clear that I'm not against horses, because I'm a horse person at heart. I'm a Wenatchee descendant, San Boyle descendant. I consider us to be horse people. But the horses are becoming an epidemic. They have the greatest impact right now on our wildlife. I'm a hunter. I'm a provider. It's who we are. It's what we do. I don't only hunt for my own immediate family. I hunt for my relatives. And when you go out there and you see the devastation of not only the horses and the cattle, there's a key thing about ranching on reservation. It's if it's managed right, and we're so far from it. So my words, I hope that our council hears, not with their ears, but with their heart. In these next coming months, when I look at your plan that you presented here today is pretty broad. That when the time comes to focus on what are the primary impacts on our natural resources, the horses are. You can talk to Randy. There's been studies, there have been flyovers. The last one was done, I believe, in 2007. And at that time, they predicted that the horse population was right around 700. And in the last 3 years of that last flyover, we were shown that this herd on our reservation of the mini herds was growing in upwards of 100 to 150 a year, and that was 5 years ago. So I don't know how many hunters can get up here and speak and line up behind me, but I'm not a social network person. I believe it's the demise of our people. If you have something to say to somebody and you can't say it to their face, then don't say nothing at all. That's the true teaching of our elders. If you want to know what's going on with me, come and see me, or when we meet past, then we can share that time. But nonetheless, there's a webpage or Facebook talk about res, bucks, and bulls. You know, we need to do something for our brothers and sisters, the animals, that give up their lives to feed our families, to feed our relatives. For this is the way it was and been from our elders to our ancestors, that they fed our people, they helped us, and they gave help from Mother Earth. These are the teachings that are given to us. These are the rules that we live by our ancestors. So I'm not up here telling somebody that I just learned. It's something that I live. It's hard for me to go out there and hunt, and and all you see is horses, all you see is cows, our deer and our elk and stuff. I work for Fish and Wildlife. I work in the fisheries field, and we are making great strides in that. I'm very proud of what I do, where I come from. But I'm more or less up here to speak to the hearts of our leaders, that when those agenda items come forward, and remember, we have greater issues out there that are not being brought forward to you, that need to be taken care of right now, because the longer we wait, the far worse we're falling behind. I don't know what the actual numbers on, they're paying a bounty fee for horses the past couple of winters, from like $20 to $25. Really wasn't much. But they're really not making an impact on the herds because they're growing faster than they can catch them. But this is the primary reason to get up here to speak, and it has a lot to do with what these monies are brought here for, is our natural resources. We need to remind ourselves that this is a mismanagement of our natural resources. And I have had the pleasure of working in many fields, and I work for the tribe. I appreciate a lot of our non-tribal members that have a lot of compassion in what they do that benefit this land that we live on, that we call our reservation. And it is true, there was a time when a non-member wasn't allowed to be here, but I want to recognize, we have a water resource manager that's still sitting here. I want to commend Mr. Todd Thorne and his efforts. We have a road impact survey that he's been doing for several years. I used to work for Range back in 2004, and they were doing the Omak Creek watershed then. I know they just recently finished in Paul Creek. And even though that I see environmental trust in my rearview mirrors, that the most precious resource to everything that lives is water. So even though I get up here and speak on behalf as a hunter about our horses, but we got to do everything we can to protect the water. It is the goal that is here. It is what we need. It's what we need to protect. Living.
Next up is Chi Chi. Did I say it right?
My name is Chichi, but it's really Regina Sister, but I go by Chichi. I worked for the Bureau for 32 years, and it supported my family. And it really angers me that they blame the Bureau all the time. It's not. It is everybody's responsibility. What happened out there? It's our councilman. The Bureau has a plan. The councilman reads it, and they don't have to sign those A, B, or C plans. But my question is, we haven't got any logging industry. What's going on with that, Joe? The logging. It supported a lot of families, but I know logging went down. And my next question is, are you guys communicating with the Bureau any better than you are? That was my question. Oh, and support Taro. They're important for our reservation.
Yeah, on the logging, we are talking to the Bureau. We want to change the IRMP. A lot of this, the logging is trying to bring the sales forward. The problem we have is CTEC has first right of refusal, and I haven't got them to move on that because of lack of funds and the new timber allocation agreement. As soon as we get those settled, then we should be moving forward with timber sales.
With Taro, we do have a new interim Taro director. I don't know if many of you resolution, please fill. Thank you. I support Tara.
Good afternoon. My name is Sharon Come Down Red Thunder. I am an elder in the Steele community. I know I differ from a lot of the opinions that are stated here, but I feel that I have to stand up and state my opinion as to how I feel, how I was brought up. The 50% of the $193 million that has been paid out did a lot of good for some of our people. But I believe the remaining money needs to go back into our repairing our lands. The judgment was paid because of the damage to our natural resources. And it needs to go back into our natural resources to repair what has been done, what has been damaged. I'm a traditional person. I was brought up to believe in the water, the deer, the game, the roots, and the berries. What I'm doing is I'm teaching my children, my grandchildren, to go out into the natural resources. They go digging, they go berry picking, and they learn how to appreciate the outdoors. And one of the things that we always do is when we go to our longhouse, we pray for all of our foods. We pray for our water. Water is gold. Without water, there's no life. We need to take care of our natural resources, and I feel that this is something that we need to, with our integrated resource management plan, we need to have a good plan. We need to make sure everything is protected. You know, we talk about money, and our elders, our ancestors, stopped termination because they wanted to keep our reservation. We need to preserve our reservation. At that time, they were offered money to terminate, and our elders went in and they fought hard to keep our reservation. And I think we really need to work on preserving our reservation for our children to come. I have grandchildren, and I'm hoping that our reservation is in good condition, that they can still go out and gather the foods. They can still do a lot of things. They can still go swimming in the lakes. They can appreciate the water. And I would like to say that this is my personal opinion. I know a lot of you feel that you need the money. I myself, I'd like to see our reservation preserved for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Mandy, you're up next. You're gonna put the camera down.
It's glued to my face. No, I'm just kidding.
Jump.
Chair. Got a stool somewhere? I'm just kidding. Okay. Hi, my name is Mandy Carson. I'm from the Elmira District. Forgive me, I'm getting a little nervous looking at you guys now. But what I wanted to talk about is every time that we hear a proposal or that we're looking into franchising or looking into doing something, building something, the thing that always comes up is the money. How is it going to be possible? Because we don't have the money, we don't have the funding. There's so many needs everywhere. So what I want to suggest is looking into possibly bringing a Goodwill franchise over this way. They already have their own program, they already have their stuff implemented, they're a partial profit. They do so much. They have the Elder Seniors Program where they teach a lot of senior citizens the new technology for these days, learn how to teach them how to use computers, our new iPads, our new iPhones, all of that stuff that they're missing out on. They have single mothers to where they help single mothers become self-sufficient and give them jobs. there's directing, there's all kinds of stuff. Goodwill, you give to Goodwill, Goodwill gives back to your community. So I'm wondering if this will be a possibility in the near future to at least look at and maybe a proposal, because this is where it's at. They've already got their plans, they've already got their programs. They've already got everything that would fit our needs that's already here instead of making us wait. So, council, is that possible to look into, to giving us a Goodwill or even a Salvation Army, anything like that? I'm asking you guys.
That was a tough question.
I say yes.
Thank you.
I'm done. I just wanted to say that. I just want to say that I certainly wrote it down on my list. And I'm keeping track of all of the comments that are coming from the membership. As is, I think, this entire table. And we welcome all of the suggestions. It's kind of difficult to give a yes or no answer. I think that we can say yes, we will look into it. And
Thank you.
I just wanted to say, when I used to take my kid to the specialist dentist out in Spokane, one of our places was the stop was he actually liked looking at the toys as a young kid and was actually grateful. I worked for the tribe for over 20 years and realized what it's like to live off of a lower income scale and try to raise your children. And I know we do things through our food distribution program that sometimes our families can donate, the different things there that they distribute out when people are in need. I think that maybe we could enhance that a little more and bring more of that type of help to our members that are having a tough time. And the way our people have always been brought up, we usually normally comes natural to help one another out. And I think that's a really good idea when you have brought forward.
Okay, we've got two more comments before we close. Yvette?
I apologize for speaking again, but when I was presenting the resolution, it was just to present a new policy. And I do have to say, Nancy, that regardless of the tribe's resolution that you have, that you explained, I do think that it's important for us as membership to have the council have one specific policy that applies only to the council. I think what's really impressive about that Spokane Tribal resolution is that it's voted for in the affirmative by all of the council members of the Spokane Tribe. And I think that we would have much more confidence in your work, all of you, each and every one of you, if you would agree to be tested at any time. And that's to give hair samples, to be very explicit and clear that that's how it is. I wouldn't have any problem with any of the recommendations that you have presented, whether you're in a positive profit or a loss, if I know that you're thinking with a clear mind and that you are thinking with the interests of the people. So I would still suggest that the policy, the Spokane Tribal Council's resolution, be considered by the council. And I'm going to ask John Cyrus as chairman, because he's sort of the ultimate authority for the council, to adopt that, to look at it, work with the tribal attorneys, look at the HR policy. I have the Spokane Tribes policy, and I'd like to see that adopted by the council, specifically for the council, so all of our membership have no doubt that our tribal leadership are drug-free, and that you're not going to become alcoholics
You know, hopefully that's not the situation. I'd really like to see that. But anyway, I have questions myself, and I really was pleased to see that the scholarship programs have some highlight. And I think I heard every presenter say that we need more engineers, we need more language teachers, we need more educators, we need more qualified CPAs, accountants, law enforcement, people who are qualified to do their jobs. We have probably, I think, 9,600 members? So at least 50% of them, probably 4,800 or more membership, are under the age of 18. And I heard at the last general council meeting I was at, a man speak to the fact that he believed we weren't doing enough to support our students who are doing well. You know, we should have some of that money going into a program for every kid who gets an A, if they're in junior high and high school. Every kid should get $100. That would be an incentive for them to get better grades, because we have too many kids dropping out. I also think that the scholarship program hasn't increased tremendously since when I went to college. And I graduated from Washington State University in 1980. And I think at that time there was probably about $4,000 offered a year. I have a daughter who's a freshman, or excuse me, a sophomore at WSU. And her scholarship and her tuition, her room and board at a state university is about $24,000 a year. The tribe could give her only $7,800. The rest is what she's taking out in loans. She did get a CTEC scholarship for last year. I didn't even think CTEC, I don't know if they awarded scholarships this year, but you know, she got a Cecilia Sante scholarship, for which we're very grateful. We just don't have enough scholarship opportunities for our tribal members. And I know there are a couple ladies who've been there forever, including when I went to school, who are still working, who are probably going to retire soon. But we don't have enough people working to advance our tribal people into educational positions. I also think, you know, because I have a son who's a freshman at Whitworth, these two kids, I brought them to Spokane to go to school at Gonzaga Prep. I did so because when they were in 6th grade and 7th grade here, they were being offered drugs. And I didn't want them to grow up in that environment. So I sent them to Catholic school and I paid for them to go. And now they're in college and I'll be paying for them to go there as well. But you know, my son fortunately was able to get a scholarship. He got two. He got one, he got support from the tribe. But his scholarship amounted to about $180,000. And it's just remarkable. We have some kids that are Gates scholars, but those are so few and far between. So if we're going to really focus on the future, we're going to talk about enhancing the land. We can't do that with people who don't know what they're doing. I mean, we have some people who know, but not all people. And I really do think that it's important that we support more funding for our tribal members and some kind of incentive that if these kids from junior high through high school would get just, you know, $100 for an A grade, we'd probably have more kids getting straight A's and finishing high school. I think that's really, really important. So I don't know, I've seen that there's a certain amount of money, the guy talked about it, and I'm sorry, the finance guy, said 7% of the Wells Dam is going for education. So it's 7% going for the support of Pascal Sherman, the support of the Head Start programs, the support of higher education. I don't know where that money is going. I would like to see a report in the Tribal Tribune about what the scholarship program is about and what is innovative. And then finally, with regard to the Tribal Tribune, whatever happened to our resolutions? Why are they not posted in the tribal council or Tribal Tribune? You know, we used to have travel reports as well. And I did want to take and compare a certain criminal report with the tribal budget, because I wanted to see if those criminal activities were happening during travel under the Pablo Tribe's dime. It's just important because we have to be so accountable for everything we do. So anyway, I would like to see, and I'm going to send a copy of to the council, of the Salish Kootenai Tribal newspaper,
What they have is like a really nice newspaper that's produced every week. They have news about everything on the reservation. But on the inside, they have the tribal council minutes with the tribal council resolutions, and they don't just have the title, they have the complete resolution included, and it's in a smaller print, but hey, at least you know what the tribal government is doing at the Sage Kootenai tribe. And I would suggest that we implement that immediately, because there just isn't enough communications. We're giving you our trust, we're giving you that 50% at least, the $90-some million, and we expect to see some accountability and some reporting. You know, and I know too, whenever we have tribal elections, we see more tribal council put reports in, but really, all you have to do is put 2 or 3 paragraphs a month to tell us what you're doing. Very soon, next week or 2 weeks from now, possibly all 14 members of the council will be going to Sacramento to the National Congress of American Indians. It's an important year because they're going to talk about constitutional reform for the organization, which they do very rarely. But I know it's a dilemma probably for the chairman to decide who should go and who shouldn't. And I know the council are trying hard to stay home more often, which I think is important. But if they're called to Washington, D.C. and have to testify before the Congress, I want to know they're doing that. If they're representing an organization that's going to do something good for our people, like Rita City Dental Clinic, I want to see them do that. But I also want to see that their travel budget is being measured more effectively. People can share rooms. You don't have to have your own room when you go to Sacramento. People can rent 1 car or 2 cars. You don't have to all have a car, and you don't have to rent from Hertz. Hertz rent-a-car costs about 50% more than Budget or Avis. I know because I have to find good deals where I work. And I think the tribal government needs to look at their Hertz Golden Club cards because they've had them forever. And we're charging generally twice as much for the Hertz card. If we're giving the tribal council members $25,000, my thought was, it sounded like we lost $17 million. I couldn't add up all of those PowerPoint charts fast enough, and I have a flash drive with me. I want to get a copy of that presentation. But I want to know that if we're having less resources, that there are less people traveling, and that they're doing it the most efficient way possible. So that's my wish, and I just had my birthday, so I hope you guys will honor that wish. Thank you.
I didn't get any answers to my questions earlier. Can someone explain to me how the settlement monies became here per capita?
Could you closer to the mic?
Oh, I was asking if somebody could explain to me how the settlement monies became here per capita when the original 21 and the 50 or the 30 is.
From what I understand, that their disbursement, they're on per capita.
Which is the same.
I mean, I'm not exactly sure what the exact definition is. I mean, I don't know if there is a, do you know if there's an exact definition?
Technical term. There's
What he's
no
using
legal
is the
term.
same word. Yeah, it's the
It's
same
not a
word.
legal term.
You can't hold them then.
There's a
Turn it loose.
Not a legal term.
Yep.
there's a document you get to that the government states they call it a capita settlement. They call it everything in one. And it's in writing and it's online. I believe Joanne Sanchez was the first one to give that to me, and I can get a copy for you. And we can put, I believe it's on the website, our own website as well.
Okay, so why weren't any holds done on the 20% like the petition said, in addition to?
When we were at our swearing in on July 12th, that was rescinded. There were holds initially, and Brian Nissen made a motion to strike it, and the council voted to strike it.
And so legally you're saying that some of the links could be distributed as a packet.
According to what was that document?
So that's all we wanted to know. I just had a comment that,
Can't hear you.
being here, sorry, is just important to me as being with my family today, my hair, no money. Actually, my 3-year-old son is at home with consensus right now. So I sacrificed, time taking care of him to come here and speak up. And I just feel that, our tribal issues are just important to me as a family because we are an extended family, whether I have differences with you or not. We need to start looking at each other as such. So, that's all.
Skip you. I'm sorry, Larry. You're next. You are up.
My mom gave me my height and also my patience. We were okay, what I'm here first, my name is Larry Robin. I recently received a job here at the tribe. I work in I'm a risk manager for the tribe, which I'm thankful for the job. One thing I want to talk to the council about and people in general was my experience. Because my experience in obtaining a job here at the tribe is not unique. I started applying here at the tribe last April of 2011. Now, just to let you know that I'm not just relying on the tribe, I put out over 650 applications nationwide. I was interviewed over 18 times. 5 of them here on the reservation. I get letters that stated that I didn't meet the minimum qualifications. And when I read these applications, they ask how many years of experience do you have, and they're asking for 3, and I have 15. There were times where the information they're asking from me is I more than qualified. Again, like I said, my story is not unique. What was frustrating to me is the way I was treated and barriers put up. I recently was employed. One of the barriers I had was a tribal license. I wasn't eligible according to what people had said. Well, one of the things that was told me when I came and I was hired that I needed to go through a tribal application, and I received a tribal license because I qualified. I was denied a job. I was given an opportunity to come work. A job offer was made, stated that the reason they rescinded the job offer was the driver's license issue. So there was some injustice done. I asked to have that qualified and to ensure that no one else is going to have to go through these things. I heard today we're looking for people who are tribal members, who are educated, who have the experience, and wanting to work for the tribe. The income that you can make outside of tribe is very nice. I can admit to that because I have worked both for the tribe and not for the tribe, and for different entities. I choose to come back here, for one. Even though I put out all those applications, even though I was interviewed many times, it's still very disheartening to know that the economics of today makes it even more challenging when you hear your tribal organization is looking for someone who's, again, educated, experienced, and willing to come for the wages so they will. It's very disheartening to not only myself, there was about 14 other people, tribal members, who were sitting in the same boat. It's really frustrating when you see 35 job postings every month on our tribal website. It's even more frustrating when you see non-tribal members in positions that you are qualified for, or at least be able to come in and help them exit gracefully. So So I guess what I'm saying, and the bottom line of it is, you want tribal members to come, you want them to be experienced, you want them to have outside experience, you want a good education and a dedication. And I'm going to say this here now. I'm sure that there are about 14 people that I've talked to. They would say the same thing to you. We want to work here. We want to live here. We're definitely going to die here. My heart is here. You know, you think you'd be 50, things would be different. But this is my last place on the board. I'm going to do everything I can to help everyone that wants that same thing, that are tribal members. I'm here to be a support. I just want to question and answer what needs to be done so this doesn't happen again. Thank you.
What happened again?
Non-tribal members getting hired, overqualified members getting passed up.
My colleagues have been asking me not to talk because they think I talk too long, and I don't know why. Larry, I think that you basically just provided testimony over a concern that many of us have. I mean, if we haven't experienced ourselves, we've experienced relatives or friends who've experienced it. One of the things that we've set some different goals for our committees, and as the chair for E&E and working with my committee, one of the goals that we have recognized, or I should say a goal, actually it's not a formalized goal, this was actually a discussion that we all had, and that was we were concerned about our HR, our Human Resources Division. It's not something that has been quiet. We've had HR present to our committee almost every week that we've had a committee. And so we've been asking a lot of questions. What we're doing is we're trying to look at changes structurally. And you heard the report earlier with our interim executive director who spoke about the reorganization of our human resource offices. And Joe Bacotas also spoke to the same thing. And that means that what we're going to look at, what we're going to reflect upon and return to is an old directive that came from council a couple of years ago, and that was to reorganize HR and look at merging the two HRs between CTFC and the tribe. What we want to do is we want to raise the efficiency of our human resource offices and actually create human resource offices where they have, they're not only a personnel office where we look for applications to fill job descriptions, and they're constantly just looking at job descriptions and job reclassifications or classifications. What we want to do is we want to have one place, like a one-stop shop, where all one application is completed. So instead of duplicating all these different applications to a job at CTFC, a job within the tribe, a job, maybe if somebody's employed, like Larry mentioned, and they apply for 3 jobs that they're qualified for, the way our process is people have to fill out 3 different job descriptions. And then they have to sign it with an original signature. And outside in other reservations, in other governments, in other businesses, they have been accepting electronic applications for some time. Also, if we have one application, let's say that Larry decides I'm calling HR department because I'm applying for 3 jobs that I qualified for. All I have to do is call and say, HR officer, please activate my application in these other jobs. We want to reduce costs. That's a lot of manpower, all this duplication. So we want to get back to a vision where we're reducing duplication, we're raising our tribal preference standards as well. We
the way we're going to do that is not just post it on on our website, different job applications, but we want to create, which Patrick talked about, a recruitment and retention policy. And that means we have a lot of qualified people across this nation. My work, Yvette's work, a lot of us who've been out there traveling, all these people, many of the professionals that I run into are call those. We have valued education for many, many years. We've educated many, but we don't do a good job of recruiting. We educate them, but we don't do a good job of recruiting them or retaining them. And so we want to change some of those policies, and that's actually what a human resource office is supposed to do. So we're looking at the recruitment and retention policies under our tribal preference code. Lastly, we need to do a better job at creating pipeline projects where we work with our school systems. If we want to develop a strong, future, healthy workforce, we need to start working with our schools. And Yvette mentioned one idea, and that was providing incentives to our students that are doing good. We have a lot of good students who aren't doing good. We also need to find ways to motivate those students. There's a lot of students out there who haven't had the resources, the support, and we need to start getting into the schools. And so we have a couple ideas that we're working on right now, and I'm really excited about it, that I believe that the majority of this table is willing to invest in some of these ideas that will help stabilize our work environment, our workforce, and develop our future workforce. So thank you.
Hi, Louis Stone. I wanted to just make a couple of comments, specifically about, one thing I haven't heard mentioned in Albany. I'll get to that in a second, but, because obviously the discussions, they served the membership this afternoon have been about, the difference between, recycling or using the settlement funds, the balance of the settlement funds for restoration or other things. I haven't seen the plan, but I'm pretty interested in how that would actually be carried out. I think that's more important to me than the actual plan. Because if you haven't got a good means of carrying a plan out, the plan's pretty much worthless. And, I, as I said before too, I mean, not today, but at other times, the idea of a good plan and to, put monies back into the system. That's helpful, and those are good ideas. But there are other needs as well, and I think they're equally competing. And so that's why I was very disappointed to learn what happened at the government committee meeting where the individual was virtually arrested, taken out of the tribal facility in the council chambers, and the committee chairperson was pretty much out of control. And, evidently the committee member is not stopping that committee chairperson from misbehaving really. Because, after all, those were a lot of signatures of the tribal members, and if the council is really sincere about hearing what the membership has to say, well, that's a lot of comment. 1,500 members worth. And it's significant. And after all, the petition that was received by the council for the 50% distribution was for about the same number of signatures, I understand. And so we're kind of still in the ballpark. I mean, I don't want to discuss the merits of the validity of the petitions, but I just want to throw that out there. So I want to get to the point then of my concerns that I didn't hear anybody say anything about today. And that is about the capacity to implement any plan. And I'm just going to be blunt about it. We're adults. You know, and I appreciated that, making a comment earlier about the proposal to deal with alcohol and drug abuse issues. They're really important. You know, the conduct of employees and council members on delegation, or even not at home. You know, I mean, those are important. They're looked up to, and they've got to you know, conduct themselves appropriately. And so I thank you, Yvette, for bringing that up and having some of that discussion today. But I think there's some siblings, so to speak, use a metaphor about that, about alcohol and drug abuse. And those are about, you know, crime, such as embezzlement, misuse of credit cards, for unauthorized use, personal use, and even for the per diem budgets that are provided for the tribal leaders for travel and things like that. I mean, if you wanted to look at some of these things, you know, even on a good day, you know, you might just say, well, okay, they made a mistake. You know, somebody used something that they shouldn't have, that was wrong, you know, bad on them, but it's repetitive. And you do it year after year after year, that amounts to some big money. And so you see, for me, when it comes to that, it tells me that if you can't respect your own personal responsibility with these funds, why should
They
I?
were supposed to be making DVD.
And I would ask you to ask the same question. Why should you
hours ago.
trust them
So that's why I shut up. 'Cause
to use these other funds for whatever plan? I mean, really, think about it. Seriously. If they will not respect that, and they're on their honor to do that, then what can you expect for that? I don't think the answer is very positive. Really. And so, you know, and some comments were just made about dealing with the human resource management and things like that. That's fine. But again, if your human resources elements, if your employees are embezzling from the tribe, council members are embezzling virtually through the misuse of credit cards and per diem, and if land is being swindled from tribal members through realty, through fraud, you know, by well, just through fraud, just fraudulent documents that the realty people know about. There's no mystery about it. It happens. We know there's issues with enrollment too, those sorts of things. These are all rules and laws that are on the books that I have hoped at some point, you know, the leadership would tackle. Sometimes, you know, this is a body of 14 people, as we know. And I have disagreement for that, considering the fact that it's not working. And, you know, I've been talking about this stuff for 30, 35, 40 years. It's not changing. Many of you in this room have been talking about it for that long. It's not changing. Why not? Because evidently, 14 people, year after year, decade after decade, generation after generation, don't give a damn. And how are you going to get their attention? And it might be just starvation. The other blunt fact is, that it hasn't been discussed, is what I mean by starvation, the blunt fact is that, the tribe's in serious financial trouble. So is the corporation. And so, maybe, if you starve the beast, maybe the beast will start changing behavior. I mean, that's a shot. There's no guarantee. But nothing else is working. Rewarding this body for doing the same thing year after year, decade after decade, generation after generation is not working. So, we could hold, I agree that this format, like, Charlene was saying earlier, this format for this meeting, for these meetings, has to be turned around. Because, not that I'm disappointed that the people who weren't here this morning, aren't the victims to hear me speak now. But the fact is, there were more people here this morning. And if we had the public forum, the membership forum in the morning, then, we could torture them up through lunch. And if they wanted to leave at lunch, that's fine, but at least they would hear, some of the things from the membership. And if they were, then the council and their guests can speak to whatever they want to speak to in the afternoon. I agree with that. I thank Charlene for making that point. And there are other people who said some good things this afternoon as well, and I'm thanking Jerry is one of them. I appreciate that. All the others who spoke and everything. I just think, we need to have another way to get the membership to participate more, and so that they hear it. There's fewer people here. We're hearing ourselves. Not a real problem with that, but I think we all want some results. So we want something different to happen. We want something better. If we want to talk about the future, let's start about now. Let's start with stopping stealing from ourselves and abusing ourselves and being disrespectful to ourselves. Because when we've done that, then why not ruin the environment? That's how it works. If you just like yourself that much and you steal from your neighbors, why won't you go in? Why won't you go out? Or let the council make a weaselly contract with some contractors to abuse the resources. I mean, why not? It's what's happened. That's how it works. And I'm just saying, okay, with the alcohol abuse, the drug abuse, exactly, it's a problem, it's serious. But these other things as well, of personal, choices of abuse of the system, the theft, all those things, the disrespect, those things add up, they've accumulated, the membership's angry, there's little trust, and it's not going to improve by not doing something to make a change. And it's not just by changing faces, it's about changing the kinds of thinking that are at the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou. I sincerely hear what you're saying. There is a lot of mistrust out there. There's a lot of concern because of the direction, because of where we are as a tribe. I would really invite you to come to any one of our committee meetings because it is shocking because we have turned 180 degrees. We're averaging 10 council people at every committee meeting. We're getting work done. It is changing. It's still early for it to be shown to everybody, but looking at just some of the things that we've done lately, it does make a difference. Changing, because in my earlier remarks, it's about attitude and attendance. And if you have the right attitude and you're there and you're showing up every day, it does make a difference. You know, and when I decided to run, you know, I really thought about the responsibility of what it meant to be at that table. And I take it very seriously. And I carry that with me because it's representing every one of your concerns, every one of your desires that you want to see today, but also in the future. You know, so all I can tell you and show and share with you is that I know the group that we're working with right now is showing up. They have the right attitude, and you know, we're gonna, you know, that's all we can do. We can do the best we can do. You know, I believe in them. I mean, I believe in our tribal membership. That's why I ran. So, you know, that's all I can really say. And that's kind of like my closing remarks too, because we really have to bring that back. I mean, looking at all of the past things that we may have suffered personally, injustices, you know, within the tribal administration or other things that have happened. We have a choice to hold on to that, or we can let it go and keep going and try to find some other way to come together and find a better way to work together. It is hard, it's difficult, but that is the way forward. We have to keep going. We have to keep moving together, going forward. You know, I believe in our people. I believe in the people that are here. You know, we're moving in the right direction. Did we have another?
I just wanted to thank you, Lou, for your words. 18 months ago when I decided to run for council, you know, as a community member and tribal member, I had a lot of complaints, but it finally came to the point where I felt like I either had to put up or shut up. There were some changes that I wanted to see happen within our tribal government and within our tribal administration. And since then, I think we've had a complete changeover through council, except for 3. But we are elected officials. We are elected into our positions by our districts. And I keep reminding individuals, you know, like this last spring when we had that incident, I heard often many members come up and say, well, why doesn't council do something about it? And we have to abide by the law. You know, you're innocent until proven guilty. And on the other hand, the community elected that official in, and because you are an elected member of council, you are going to carry those same morals and values with you once you become, you know, an elected official, elected council member. You're not going to automatically become this perfect person. A lot of individuals don't realize how much under the microscope you are when you're in that position, and that you are a role model 24/7. So we are elected by you guys. Thank you.
I want to make a comment because actually the reason I ran is because I saw a lot of those invoices, I saw a lot of the bills coming in, and I was concerned about the use of credit cards and those kind of things. But, you know, there's a whole history. There's lots of records out there of past council and what past council has done. And I would hate to even start pointing fingers without a structure in place where there's actually monitoring happening, or that we're looking at solutions to change policies so that we are accountable for every penny that we spend. I'm, along with many of the other council here, are already looking at new policies for travel so that we start saving money. And we are looking at ways to, many of us have not even traveled. We've totally reduced travel just because we made a commitment that we're going to try to take care of local business, prioritize. I think that
recently at AT&I, we usually have 12 to 14 people that go down to AT&I, and I think we only had 3 or 4. And another thing that just happened also, and we always need to recognize this, that we actually have people on this council that are nationally recognized and are working on national boards, and Andy is one of those people. So, you know, there's some travel is going to happen, and it's important that some travel does happen. But we want to be accountable to the travel. We want to be accountable to our credit card use. I don't like allegations of fraud or that we are that because we're on council now that we may have done something illegal. I don't like that, and I really think that you know, our management and budget committee and the rest of us can start posting our own budget to show that we are being accountable to our travel budget, just like everybody else. So that's all I have to say.
In committee meetings, could you guys like not use your cell phones? I mean, you have your iPads now, so could that be the only thing you use, electronic device at the table while you guys are conducting business? Because too many people are like this while everybody else is talking, and I think in the committee, everybody should be focused on the discussion.
She brings a point about the use of cell phones and iPads while other people are talking, and I think that's a valid point. You know, it is about respecting and making sure you can multitask, but especially, you know, in a forum where people are speaking, you need to put it down and, you know, put it on vibrate.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about council around the table as you guys are.
Oh, as we're doing committee meetings too?
Yes. I mean, I understand the iPads because you can.
Yeah, but they're paperless. The iPads are paperless,
But
so
the
we're
cell-
putting a lot of our agendas and all the like contracts and all that stuff. So instead of making photocopies of, you know, take natural resources, for example, I mean, that you're looking at, you know, 14 reams of paper. Now it's electronic, and we can go through it while they're presenting. That's the savings, but
If you was to come up and look at my iPad right now, you'll see my notes that I'm taking.
Yeah, I understand iPads,
taking
I
on all
understand, but
your-
not
your
cell phone
comments.
text.
Same thing on my cell phone. I got a lot of notes on here that actually I had before I got my iPad, and sometimes it's faster with my thumb than my fingers kind of type. So, but I do use it as a tool to remember things because I am getting a little older. But I agree. It does look like we're disrespecting you, and I'm
Well,
sorry.
let me refresh you on our current, it was a recent management and budget meeting. Budgetment, that's how late it is. It's a budget meeting. No, you had three council witnessed using their cell phones to make fun of their presenters. They were sitting there, smirking, whispering, text each other, and they'd look at each other and start laughing. That was not paying attention to your people who are in there trying to get your ear. That happened. So that's what we're talking about. Bringing back the respect to the people in those committee meetings. I don't care about your electronics or how valuable this, that, and the other. You guys have a CBC secretary sitting there taking those minutes. And if you pencil and paper worked for how many years? It's still being used today. Those iPads cost a lot of money. There's still contention about that. When our people are still suffering and going without. I guess I'm too old school because I think I can retain a lot up here, especially when it comes to something in particular that I need to take care of. And I really, really think that the immaturity of some of these boys on council when they're together is very, very disrespectful. And I won't name them,
And it's sad because I guess you can deduce only one is up there at the table as I speak. And so, but that's what we're talking about, is bringing respect back to the people. When Colleen Costin was the chairperson, she was the only one who conducted business and had cracked that whip like a whip woman. And you could hear a pin drop when she conducted her committee business. That's what we're asking. Go back to that. Go back to the respect for the people who want to just get 5 minutes of your valuable time, because most of us can't even get on your agenda as employees. And then when we are there, you see the increments, 15 minutes, depending on who it is. So if someone is getting up there talking about an issue that is near and dear to you and you kind of have it up here, you should have it up here. I know a lot of things that were said today, excuse me, my sister. That's my cousin. But anyway, that's what I'm talking about, is the old-fashioned respect. I get sick and tired of being condescended by this council when we try to bring up an issue. Let's just hear you say you want to make it better. A hand goes up and you want to justify why you do what you do. The people are saying enough of that. Revisit that. It's not working. Start respecting us so that we can respect you. Give us your attention. That's all we ask for, just in a few seconds of your valuable time. And get a grip on your council, John. You're the chair. If you see them jumping up and down and you see them doing this and that and the other, say, please, please. We have guests here. We have people who need to speak. We provided, without a microphone and under an arbor because we got chased out of our original meeting place, we provided an elder valuable time to share her last and final words as a member of this tribe who didn't even live to see this money. May she rest in peace. But there was how many of us there? We were so quiet you could hear a pin drop, because that's what you do. The respect that our leaders used to have for our people. And it was mutual, back and forth. And that's all we ask you to bring back to council, John, as the chair. It got really out of hand with the last chair. That's where all the reputation, that's where all the issues that were addressed today by so many people from different parts of the reservation and different parts of the country who traveled to be here. All one common issue was the behavior, the misconduct, and the shame on our tribe. Lucy Covington didn't sell her personal cows for council to go get drunk on our tab. And that's what we're asking today. The hour's late, I get a little testy when I see people whispering and talking around, when people are still trying to have their say, because you guys put us back at this time. So listen to us. That's what we're asking you. People get up there and you can't even hear them because, and then you look at the disinterest and then everybody has an excuse. My daughter just stood up and said her baby has pertussis. She is a concern-loving parent. That's why she's here, because she wants to protect the future for her children and that little baby with pertussis. But oh no, there's worse parents out there. That wasn't the issue to start defending. It was like, where is everybody and how can we make it better? Yeah. What kind of meeting can we have? When, where? Just like we mentioned earlier, at a time that will accommodate everybody. Not excuses for those who aren't here, but how can we make it better so they can be? Help our families be able to attend here. You're the chair, John. That's something you need to work out. Those people at the table. And when I listened about the drug and alcohol issue across the tribe. I hope that you guys go across the police department, because I can name officers who drink and carry on, and they can wear uniforms and judge others that I work for. So Lynn, I don't know who's going to spearhead that drug and alcohol resolution, but I was going to catch you afterwards and ask you if you would please, all inclusive. You have Colville Indian Housing Authority employees down there. Everybody needs to be under this umbrella to clean up our tribe, to help us get back on track. We want to help. We want to help you too. That's what I said. Come with solutions for the council today. Don't get on Facebook and bitch and moan and groan around. You got a lot to say. Well, be here and say it, whether you can or can't, but somehow do something. You know, and so I see a lot of solutions that were brought up here, and a lot of ifs and questions yet. But you know what? We all did it. And look at the late hour, and we're still here trying to do it. But I don't want excuses on why things are the way they've been. I want to hear you say, I'm going to do my damnedest to straighten this council up so that when you come into our council, we will give you the attention you deserve. Especially when you're an elder. Not chase them out of there, not chase people out of there. Those are the things that you guys need to be committed to, a new direction. I hear you making lots of changes, and that's good. And I hear you guys scratching each other on the back about how wonderful things are. Show us out here. Show us out here. Because you know what? I can't even put my damn toe in that administration building, and I'm glad the fellow left. Because I know I'd hear about it on Monday. And this reorganization too that's going on, I hope you include that, Lynn, in your HR work, and that's what I was going to talk to you about too, with employment and education. I don't know how that, who covers that scope, but you got this reorganization going on, that a lot of tribal members are being hurt, a lot of them, and they're not as assertive as I am. And they're being hurt, and you guys are just letting some bureaucrat come in here and sell you down the road on how wonderful it is, and you're weakening our sovereignty every day. And he knows that you guys don't even have half of you Indian Education 101. So he's selling you down the road, weakening our sovereignty. By what? You know that. They tried to terminate us. They tried so hard to terminate us in the 70s, to the 70s, and it failed. So their next plan was, let's develop 638 funding. We'll get them to buy this, and we'll give them money, because money makes everybody's life a lot easier. We're going to get in there, and we're going to take their sovereignty, because they're going to owe us everything, because they're going to be sold out to our 638 funding. And you guys are buying it. If you want to find out history and find out about 638 funding and why it was originated, then you do your research. But you need to know what you're going right into the trap. And they said it's going to take at least 20 years to sell this. And look what's happening. You got a Fed in your midst selling us out right from underneath with your blessing. And it's going on. And there's several of us who are trying to squawk and get somebody's attention, but we can't, because your chairperson of that committee is giving him a rubber stamp to do whatever he wants. That jail out there was made for juveniles. I didn't want it, because I don't want our children thrown in and the key thrown away. I want a rehabilitation. Now it's going to be a federal prison. It's going to be a federal prison? And you guys are allowing that? Why? It's a tribal jail for our tribal people. That jail should be kept empty with prevention, intervention, rehabilitation. Let our people learn from their mistakes. Let them get on with their lives. Let them show remorse and say, I didn't mean to do that, I'm sorry. and to get them back in their life. But don't start building that to where all they are is just nothing but nuisance offenders and throw them in there with nothing. And money. So somebody can make their quota. In Indian country is a federal. Stop and look at the bigger picture and listen to what the people are trying to tell you. Don't think we're being nuisance, and don't not listen to me because you don't like me. It's that, oh, Charlene Berka with the big mouth and the attitude. It got me this far because I am trying to keep this reservation alive and going and growing. In no way is it ever going to be terminated. Not as long as Jerry's here. I am here. Over there. All these people that are here. We haven't given up. Though it's come pretty darn close that, you know, we've been threatened, and some of our people who've helped us have been killed.
I need to go. I've got to
Yeah.
go somewhere, but I just need to interject.
Yeah. But anyway, I just, you know, don't tell us, well, it's like this because, say we're going to do this because we heard you today. And things will be different. We guarantee you membership. We're going to work on that.
I hear you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I just wanted to do a little bit of clarification as far as, you know, what had happened. We're still waiting for, or I'm still waiting for the police report to be completed. There's a statement that an officer has to complete before they're able to release that information, which, by the way, is public information, so anyone can access those records. And as a matter of fact, they will be sending it to me, and then I'm going to be posting it on Facebook so that there isn't any misconceptions. And I was not arrested. When I walked out, I went into the foyer and waited for the police to get there. There were two officers, a man and a woman, and when they came in, I said, I think you're looking for me, and they laughed because they said they were expecting some big guy in lots of trouble. And they were very professional, very efficient, personable, and took my statement. And then the gal that took my statement said that she would fast track it as far as the information that she needed to do to get it in there, because I told her what I wanted it for. But they did a great job that day. They have a tough job to do, just like these guys have a tough job to do. And I do appreciate you being here because we're looking and we're seeing the people who come here today. And we really remember that. But I said that you as well. Thank you.
And then
We need to get the microphone. I just want to close by thanking you all for being here, putting in the time and the energy to get those ideas out there, put energy behind those ideas and move them forward. So, you know, I just want to thank you for a beautiful day, lots of good ideas. Limlims.
Oh my gosh.